All right, let's talk. Me and you, mano y mano. I think that means man to man, but I'm not totally sure. Look, why Civil? Everyone just plays the same way. Everyone copies the same plays from one another. They're trash. They're garbage. Madden's always the same. Every single year, people run the same plays, same plays this, same plays that. All right, I have actually a pretty good discussion about this. Well, a discussion of myself, just kind of giving my I don't think it's a discussion. I'm going to talk about this, all right? So first and foremost, the meta being the same year after year after year, there's hints of truth there, but ultimately, no. Even when Gun Bunch is good one year and is good the next year, typically the way it's ran is significantly different, all right? Now, if you still consider that being the same, then I guess, in my mind, though, it's different because one year Verticals is the best play in the game. The next year is Halfback Dig Out, right, which is a play that got removed years ago but was the best play in the game. Or it's Pat Sale. Or this year, it's a solo side C route, and Bunch isn't even good this year, really. Or like Bunch Trail is one of the best plays this year. No one really called that ever before. Y Curl a couple years ago came out. And it does change. Even when a formation's still the meta year after year, the way people run it is the same. And that is 1,000 billion% true. Now, throughout a year, people playing the same. Why is that? It's easy. There's a meta. There's a best way. There's a way to play the game that gives you the most optimized chance of winning games, or best chance of winning games. So of course people are going to play like that. Now, to counteract that way of playing, people are going to have a meta on defense, for example, and they'll have a way of attacking that on defense, or sometimes it'll be flipped of they have a way of attacking a defense on offense, depending on the year. It kind of depends, right? And people are going to copy that. Now, at the top level, you'll typically see the people who master the best metas at the top. But there are players who make it to the top who are off meta. This past year, Cole, he had a great gun wide trip scheme that did amazing against Dollar and amazing against 55 wide, utilizing a lot of meta concepts inside of that. It's possible. The year before, AI Nash ran Pistol. I've never seen Pistol on the big stage before. In 21, I can't think off the top of my head. In 21, Dusty won a bunch of stuff. And Dusty, I don't know if he played off meta, but like was a player who hasn't really like made a huge name for himself except for a couple of tournament wins in that year. Although I don't know how off meta he gets, so maybe he's a bad example. There's examples every single year. In Madden 20, I was off meta, and I made runs. Hell, last year I was off meta until My Way became meta, and I made a Final 16 while I was still off meta. There's plenty of ways to be off meta and attack the meta at a very high level. Now, sometimes, like this year, in my opinion, I think there's not many great off meta ways of attacking the meta this year. From an offensive standpoint. When you're on offense, you kind of need to run a couple of things to be able to attack the defensive meta. Is that necessarily a bad thing? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think it's the worst thing ever because there are different options you have. You have different choices, and you do see people in different offenses. Gun tight, tight offset, gun bunch, gun trips tight end. There's a few different things. Tight flex. People talk about year to year. Man, every year corner routes are always OP. No, they are not. No, they're not OP. Especially anymore. Ever since zone drops came into the game, corner routes are not OP anymore. Are there good corner routes that can get open? Yeah, I guess. Like, that doesn't make it OP, though. Every corner in this game can get bagged easily. Like, you can bag every corner. Now, some corner routes do a good job against the meta, right? For example, PA shot seams, super deep corner route and tight offset, does a great job against the double Mabel meta and against the spinner meta. But guess what? I promise you, if you just called stock cover 3, didn't make an adjustment, that corner route would get bagged. Deep corner out of bunch, bench corner routes. They can all get bagged. Put a 20-yard flat, 25 maybe, 30 maybe, depending on the corner, maybe 15. They can all get bagged. So I don't know. And I really disagree with the. I just got a text. I really disagree with the fact of everyone plays the game the same way. And let's look back in time a little bit to my old heads here. Madden 04. What was the meta in Madden 04? There wasn't an online meta, but if you ever went to an in-person tournament, and this is speaking from people talking to other people, you know what the meta was? The meta was running around with Michael Vick on the Atlanta Falcons. Man, I miss the old days of Tecmo Bowl. People used to have real skill, real this and that. People just ran around with Bo Jackson, all right? Now, there is an argument for Madden's a simulation game. I'll be honest. I don't know. Like, I've played video games my entire life. I don't know a single video game that's realistic. Like, really, like, except for like Goat Simulator or Farming Simulator. Like, I don't know any games that are like hyper realistic. And you can play a more realistic experience in Madden. It's just hard to do it online. No different than in Call of Duty. You can fucking play Call of Duty, have a real realistic single player experience. But when you get online, people are fucking drop shotting you and Claymore noob tubing you and all that stuff. Like, so it's just dumb. I think it's such a stupid argument. I don't know. There's CFMs. You can even play CFMs that people play realistic. So yeah, I think it's a really, really bad argument. Now, one of the things, this is where I'll go into that I really wish EA would do, is I think it'd be really cool on offense to see, like, one of the reasons Bunch is always good, even this year where it wasn't really supposed to be that good, it still was good, and different formations, is because they have the best routes in the game stock, right? Look at Gun Bunch. Think about what Gun Bunch has. Gun Bunch has halfback wheels, or halfback seam wheels. Gun Bunch has wide receiver wheels. Gun Bunch has deep corners, short corners, crossers, right? There's all these things. It has a seam streak from the ISO where he kind of cuts in and goes up. Now let's look at a formation like, let's say Gun Cluster. Yeah, and that's not a great example. Let's go, and let's actually go like, I don't know, a different formation, right? Gun Box. It doesn't have any of those things, and it's not nearly as good. And that formation is okay, actually. But you see what I'm saying? Like, different formations, they're not all built the same. So obviously the formation that's given more tools is going to be used more often, right? Y-trips. The reason Y-trips never really gets used by people is because a lot of the stock routes in that formation suck. Now, did Cole do a good job with it? Yes. But a lot of stock routes in Y-trips aren't great. Same with like gun spread. A lot of stock routes in gun spread are not great. Gun doubles, same idea. Gun doubles is kind of cool. But you get what I'm saying. Let's look at gun trips tight end to gun tray. Gun trips tight end has numerous routes that gun tray won't have, or in all the playbooks that or all inside the same playbook that gun tray just won't have. I would like to see Madden do a better job of equipping more formations with the good routes, or at least diverse routes, or unique routes, right? I look at A-Slot this year. A-Slot doesn't have a single route in it, I don't think, that trips tight end doesn't have. So it's like, why would you ever run A-Slot over trips tight end this year? And maybe there's blocking arguments for it, but in terms of route tree, why would you? Right? There's nothing there. But what if it had like a super sick, deep corner route from, I don't know, the slot wide receiver? Then it'd be like, oh, maybe it had a stock C route. Maybe it had a stock really good post from one of the wide receivers. Oh, that'd be interesting. It has stock posts, right? It has different stock posts, like post routes, but they're not very good, right? And so that's where it's like, I would like to see that. And especially you see a lot in single back formation, pistol formation, where it's like these routes, you can't do anything with these routes, man. You cannot do a single thing with these routes. And I think that's why you see, why would someone handicap themselves by running a formation that doesn't have as good of routes as Gun Bunch or Gun Trips? That's an EA thing. I'll get the comment all the time of people like, I don't know, being upset about it. I really disagree. Like, a really good example of something I disagree with is like Gun Split Close. Always been kind of a meta formation, but never been super comp, just been, a meta formation online. They like nerfed it into the ground this year. And it's like, why? It wasn't overpowered. It wasn't ever broken. It wasn't used. I don't have the stats, but it wasn't used any more than tight end attack is out of single back wing pair. So I don't know, right? What a weird thing that is. I don't know. And I disagree with that. I'd like to see more formations have usable routes. I think that's the big thing. But the argument of like the meta is the same year to year, I really disagree with. The only time you really can make that argument a ton is like defense with 3-5 wide double Mabel. And honestly, double Mabel being good, it only makes sense. It just fits. Like, double Mabel is going to be good every year. Or one of the best defenses every year. And the reason is you have a user in the middle of the field that can defend multiple areas in the middle of the field. You have 2 flats short, 2 flats deep. It's like, okay, so you have to attack the middle of the field. People aren't good at attacking the middle of the field. Double Mabel sucks if you're a good player, by the way. Like, if you're a good Madden player and playing against double Mabel, that sucks. So there's that. I don't know, kind of my 2 cents on why you see a lot of things get repeated year to year, why it looks like it's repeated, but in my opinion, it really isn't as much as you think it is. Curious your guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comment section below. Appreciate y'all. Want to get better at John Madden Football? Y'all know where to go. Civil.gg. Use code PREMIUM for 25% off. I appreciate y'all. I'll see you in the next one.